the Footprints conversation. It's a pleasure to host you, and it's a pleasure to have this conversation under the Footprints project. Our main mission is to share insights from leaders in the industry and also trailblazers who are shaping conversations around new dynamics, new practice trends, but also doing things that are unconventional so that we challenge ourselves as young professionals, challenge other colleagues within the industry so that we shape a future for the pharma sector and the pharma industry at large that makes a difference and makes an impact. So as we get to start into the conversation, then my first question to you would be just to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, to have our viewers get to know who Dr. Libeya is. Over to you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. David, for this opportunity that you've granted me to feature in the Footprint Project. My name is Libeya Bethwel, as you rightly mentioned, and I'm a pharmacist by training, registered and currently licensed to practice in Kenya. Aside from that, I'm also a digital marketer with more than half a decade of experience in digital marketing. And currently, I'm niching down into the healthcare industry, digital marketing in the healthcare industry. And thirdly, I'm a medical writer as well. I do lots of writing, and medical writing excites me. So I wear many caps, but for now, professionally, you can feel free to refer to me with those three areas: pharmacist, medical writer, and digital marketer. Back to you.
The versatile pharmacist. I think that
Yes.
fits because it gets everything into the pharmacist in you.
Yes.
So looking at that, then as a pharmacist, you've been in practice for a couple of years from 2019 or thereabout. We graduated around the same time. How has the dynamics been? Because we all have the anxieties, they are all the concerns that we're having as young professionals. How has the practice been for you as Dr. Libeya?
All right, thank you. That's a good question, and I like to look at it as a plane that is flying while still being made. That has been the experience for me. And when a plane is being made while it's flying, it can take any direction. It can either go up or go down. But the most important thing is that the plane has to be kept on air. So from graduation in 2019 and then did my internship in 2020, I'll say I've 3+ years of experience in the space of pharmacy. And I've been able to move across different spaces of practice to gain different types of experiences and skills and knowledge. And one thing that has been for me has been to get to a place where you accept to be adaptable and grab the opportunities that come along and not to be choosy, because this is my formative years of career, and so learning is really key. So it hasn't been a bed of roses, but resilience and determination has kept me afloat. And here I am, 3+ years post graduation and internship. Yes.
Fantastic. And I love the analogy, a plane that is being made as it's flying. So either way, we have to keep it flying for as long as possible that it gets done. So fantastic. Thank you for that. So the next question that I would be keen to ask is, after that, the period that you've been out here, what practice areas have you been into, and what informed some of those decisions immediately after internship? How has that been?
All right, thank you. That's a really good question. And maybe if I can build up on my career journey from, it began getting clear to me on what I needed to do, or at least what I didn't want to do while I was still in campus. That's a good point to begin. I knew what I didn't want to do, but I really didn't have any specifics on the area that I needed to niche down to. So I remember back in 4th year, or should be 5th year, I'd made up my mind that I'll be stepping into the entrepreneurial world. And so I began preparing. And I thought, well, so how do I couple entrepreneurship and my knowledge in pharmacy? And I thought beginning a retail pharmacy would have been the best place for me to begin my adventure as I look to expand in that wise. So immediately after internship, I delved into retail pharmacy together in partnership with a few colleagues. We began a chain of retail pharmacy. We had 3 retail pharmacies that we ran for 1 year before we closed them down because the business wasn't sustainable at that particular point. So we had to close it down and focus on other things as we go back to the drawing board to plan our comeback. So immediately after internship, I took 12 months in the retail sector. I built that business. I trained for 12 months and then closed it up. Immediately after that, I made a transition to a startup that was beginning or wanted to begin a department in wholesale pharmacy. So they brought me in to help them set it up because with my prior experience from some of the business I built, I knew a bit about business development. And so I went in, set up the structures, put the foundations and all that. I'm glad that the wholesale pharmacy is still running. So that was a transition from retail to that wholesale. And then from that wholesale, I had a stint of digital marketing now on a medical device company. I was handling their digital marketing strategy, which I did for about 11 months. Must have been 11 months, did their digital marketing strategy, put in place what needed to be put in place and all that. And then after that, I transited to consultancy. That is pharmaceutical procurement and supply chain management consultancy, and mostly I do government procurement or public procurement on donor-funded program items like malaria, TB, and HIV commodities. So that is what I currently do on consultancy basis. Also, another thing I do on consultancy basis is pharma business. Anybody who intends to set up a pharmacy business based on the experience and the knowledge I have in the field, I'm able to advise them on the trajectory they can follow to be able to set it up successfully from retail to wholesale to distributorship and whatnot. Another consultancy I do quite a number of consultancies at the moment is on operations, especially the healthcare sector operations, project management, and also business development. Currently, I offer my services to a clinic, a physiotherapy clinic in Nairobi, and just to ensure that the operations are efficient, set up systems, and also be able to explore market for them and how to market their products and build a team around that. So that is my career journey for 3+ years, quite a lot within 3+ years. Yeah, but I love it that way and I love it there. Back to you, David.
Thank you. And I think you're saying it's 3+ years in terms of experience and actual calendar years. But when you look at it, experiences in the different facets would aggregate them to 10 years of experience because you've been in all the spaces at concurrent times, which is commendable as well. And I think I'd go back to one of the experience that you had in terms of running a retail pharmacy for 1 year. What are some of the things that you feel probably are learnings that you captured from that experience in community pharmacy practice? And the reason is why I'm asking this, I look at it as most of us as young professionals, we get out of school, we're like, I want to open a pharmacy. And even when I got into pharmacy school, well, you will just finish your pharm school and then go open a pharmacy. You are sorted, you're set for life. What are some of the lessons you learned from that when you experienced that maybe some of other colleagues could learn from as well?
All right, thank you for that question. It's a good question. There are quite a number of things I picked along that journey. Number one is that running a successful retail pharmacy, it's 60% business knowledge and 40% your professional knowledge. You need your professional knowledge as a pharmacist to serve your clients, but you can only be there for so long if you have knowledge on how to manage a business and how to run a business. And that begins when you're setting it up. If you get it wrong at the place of setting up a retail pharmacy, it's very hard to turn around that ship. So for those people that seek my service or those that have had an opportunity to consult with or consult for with regards to retail pharmacy business, I always tell them the success of a retail pharmacy is 90% dependent on the location you choose. If you're going with the old brick and mortar model. So we get it wrong at that level, it's very hard to turn that ship around. And I think for a few of the branches that we had, we're not really keen on that. And so the location wasn't that bad, but it wasn't viable to ensure that break even comes as soon as possible to prevent us from burning more capital. And so that is an important lesson I picked. And I always tell the people who come to me to seek advice on retail pharmacy that ensure the location you're picking is really, really viable by all means, because that will lessen the amount of effort you need to put in to ensure that the business picks off. The other thing that I learned is expansion. And I think looking back, we expanded really quickly without factoring in some of the important factors such as sustainability. We expanded using the startup capital that we had instead of expanding from one branch that has already picked off. So that sort of stretched us thin and left us with little resources on our hands to be able to focus on some of the key areas that our business needs, such as marketing, budget for marketing. So when you don't have budget for marketing and the business hasn't picked off, it's very difficult to even make sales. So that is another important lesson I picked. And thirdly, is the whole dynamic about partnership is really, really important. Just to spell out things from the word go, expectations to be clearly laid out, the roles to be clearly laid out is really, really, really important for any business to succeed. So in case there's any person intending to delve into retail pharmacy business in partnership, they need to be really clear on it and have it documented down on paper. These are the expectations from this person. This person will be representing us in the field, and this is their compensation for their time. Because as much as they're directors, they are workers of the company and need to be compensated competitively. So those dynamics, all of them have to be factored in. And above all is the aspect of finding someone who is in the field to hold your hand and walk with you. Retail pharmacy business is a dynamic space. It keeps on changing every now and then. What you knew 2 years ago may not necessarily be what is applicable now. So if you bank on the knowledge that you got 5 years ago, you're likely to burn your hands because the space has changed. The knowledge is good, yes, but the space has changed, so it's not applicable in that environment. So it's good to have someone who is walking that journey, and then they hold your hand and pull you along. So yeah, basically those are the 4 important ones. There are many others, but those are the 4 important ones that I picked that I can share. Back to you, David.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Libeya. I think those are insights that are valuable. And at this point, I'll just make it clear for those of us who will be viewing this video as they go all around it. I know you have a book on A to Z of pharmacy business practice, and I would recommend that we all get to purchase that for those who are interested in pharmacy business. Get to read it, get to synthesize these learnings, and make use of that information, because when you're learning with 1 million shillings or 500,000 shillings in your business going down, it will not be of value. Now you can save that by buying the book. How much does the book go for?
The book goes for 800 shillings. But there's also a course in case the book is a summary, but there's a course that now goes deeper into some of the nitty-gritties that are not captured in the book, like let's say market assessment, or let's say client profiling. So we go into the nitty-gritties, and the knowledge that someone gets in that course transcends retail pharmacy business. It applies to other business because there are principles of business that have tried to customize for pharmacy, but someone can use them in any other business. So there is a self-paced online course that I have, and there is an online book. So the ebook is 800 shillings, Kenyan shillings, or $5 if someone wants to pay in dollars. And then for the course is 5,250 Kenyan shillings, self-paced. If someone wants to pay in dollars, is $35. So I have those 2 options at the moment. Yes.
Fantastic. So then it means with $50, somebody can have access to all that.
Yes.
In Kenyan terms, that would be 8,000 Kenya shillings or thereabout. So 8,000 to save you 500,000, or 8,000 to save you 1 million shillings, instead of making mistakes that you might have prevented. I would encourage us to take advantage of those opportunities. And thank you actually for taking advantage of this opportunity, and also to just synthesize and analyze your insights from that experience, because most of the times we get burnt into our ventures that we get into, we leave, we never want to talk about it or even share the experiences. Ultimately, then what that causes is more of us are getting into the same mistakes, the same problems over and over. So learning those and actually sharing with other people, it's a good model as well. And I really commend you for that. And thank you for supporting.
Thank you.
So when we move from the community retail pharmacy, you've been in the consultancy world. And some of us, you're like, oh, we want to be consultants. And some people feel like consultancy has a lot of money. That is number one. Consultants are free with their time. They can move wherever they want, whenever they want. They can work from the beach. How has the experience been for you?
Well, thank you for that question. It's an interesting space. I'll say that. Looking at the old consultants, how they used to do it, someone would work in a stable job for 10, 15 years, get the experience, and then come to consultancy. I mean, the transition used to be sort of structured and easier. and their financial security was intact, because by that time they would have saved enough capital, begun a side hustle, and transition would have been easier. But stepping into consultancy at this age, especially early in career, it has its pros and cons. Of course, the beauty about it that people always envy is that you have control of your time. You can work from anywhere, anytime, any day. You feel like you can work from home, work at night, work in the morning, as long as you're delivering what you need to deliver. That is good. But the other side of it is when in early career, one of the things that I believe is really key is to be predictable with your finances, so that you can be able to plan for them and be able to know, I'm investing this much, I'm putting this much into this. And now, consultancy at this age or early in career doesn't have that luxury. You don't have a consistent stream of income that you can say, I can plan for it for 12 months, for 15 months or 18 months, unlike when you are permanently employed and you have a payslip at the end of the month. So that has been a challenge on that end, where there is unpredictability when it comes to income. So, but we're trying to find our feet on how to stabilize that. Having freedom to decide what to do at what time is good, and also it's a double-edged sword, in the sense you can have flexibility of time. You only do consulting, and the rest of the time you don't know how to invest that time. It might be counterproductive on someone's end. So it's good and bad. It's good if you know how to invest your time and you are key on investing your extra time. It's bad if you don't know how to invest that extra time. So you just do consultancy and waste the rest of the time. Yeah, but it's a good space to be in. I welcome as many as those who want to come in, but they should brace up for some of those challenges. They should brace up for those challenges, unpredictability in finances and all that. Yeah, but it's a good space to be in, and we look forward to build on that. Yeah.
Thank you. I think also one thing that maybe you could mention at that point is you have to get the consultancy job. You have to get the business. You cannot consult without the business, and because that business is what will determine whether you're paid or not. And the other thing is you have to commit the time. It is not like consultancy, you'll just do some brief, mediocre report and send it to somebody to get your pay. No. There's work. At times you can work even more than the 8 to 5 person who is in a permanent job. So those are the realities of the life. And I've seen some of my friends who are in that space as well. It's a dynamic world, so we have to make the best of it. So thank you for sharing that as well.
So just one statement on that, then you proceed. Someone mentioned that in consultancy, your next job is as good as the last one that you delivered. So if you delivered a mediocre job, chances are high you may not get the next job. So it's more tasking than even the 8 to 5, because you have to be very meticulous in what you do, knowing that this last job I'm delivering determines what I get next. Otherwise, you may not get a job. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And that is the reality. The 8 to 5, we have to discuss, do we really need to fire this person? What is the cost of firing them? There's a cost to fire people. Yeah, so it's a whole ball game altogether, but I'm sure that for those who are interested, they're willing to put in the work. It is commendable that you're in that space as well. You're shaping the future, and probably once in the next couple of years or so, you'll be sharing those insights with us in a packaged way, so that we're also able to learn from that. That is an opportunity for us as we move along. So drawing back from your professional experience and all that, you are a pharmacist. Was pharmacy your first choice career? It's assuming there's somebody who is out there wondering, what does that pharmacy entail? Is it your first choice? What is it about? Over to you.
Yes. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Not quite sure what happened, I think. All right. So I'm saying that's a good question, and it takes me down memory lane. I made a choice to pursue pharmacy when I was in my Form 3 in high school. And so I did my research and looked at those who had gone ahead of me. Of course, they used to have a notice board in our school. I was in French school, Kamusinga. And so we used to have a notice board in our school. Every year, we'll have names of those who've gone to different courses displayed. And I saw someone had been called to the University of Nairobi to pursue pharmacy. I still remember his name, and actually we met in the University of Nairobi, and he's a good friend of mine now. I saw his name in high school, and it inspired me. So did my research, what I needed to do to get that degree, and get admitted to pharmacy, and began working towards that. So it was clear to me I'm going for pharmacy. And when I was selecting courses for the first time in Form 4, my first choice was pharmacy at the University of Nairobi, and then second was pharmacy at JKUAT, and then third was pharmacy at KU. Then the second career was telecommunication engineering, third was electric and electronic, and finally fourth was actuarial science, because you're selecting 4 courses. And I got the first choice that I'd selected, is pharmacy at the University of Nairobi. And I had made up my mind that I needed to be in pharmacy. I needed something to do with human health, but not necessarily. I needed something human health, but not necessarily dealing with the patient directly, in that sense where, the way a medical officer would handle a patient. I didn't want that. I needed to be engaged in the healthcare space and not necessarily be in the clinical side. And perhaps that informs why I'm not in the clinical now, because it wasn't my cup of tea from the word go. I just wanted to be there to add my contribution, but not in direct patient professional engagement in that aspect. Yeah, so pharmacy is my career.
So, yes. And how is the experience? Do you feel fulfilled doing the things that you're doing, looking at it from what you envisioned initially?
Well, there's been a lot of changes along the way, of course, that have informed how I look at things. Some things I didn't know that I'm good at, that has pushed me to that have been pushed to that direction by circumstances that I found. Well, I'm good at this thing, and I end up loving it, and so I thrive in that environment. For example, I'd envisioned myself as a pharmacist who is an entrepreneur, having chains of retail pharmacy. Of course, that's a dream that is still living in me. I'll have to, in one way or the other, I'll find my way around there so that I enhance access to medicine by a majority of the people, quality medicine actually. And that is currently pending on the shelf. I didn't know that I had in me the drive and the fire to be at the forefront of advocacy and policy development. But circumstances, for one reason or the other, I found myself in that particular environment. And I was doing the things I was doing, and people were saying, you're good at it. And I also felt, this is something I do effortlessly. And it seems I'm adding contribution to this direction. So I told myself, well, let me now double down into that. It seems this is now what you call my mojo. Yeah, like that thing that stirs you up. Yeah. So I found myself in that environment, which I'm glad. I had not envisioned that while beginning my journey in pharm school. But now currently I'm in that space. So I've learned to love it and just move along with that.
Fantastic. Yes. And that now moves me to the next bit of it. You've been in leadership within the pharmacy space from your university days, helping organize students, organize the pharmacy profession. And currently you're serving as the chairperson of the Young Pharmacists Group under the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya. How is the experience in that level? And how do you see the responsibility that over 1,500 young pharmacists in the country, I think almost 2,000 now, looking up to you, that you'll be the person to steer the ship and guide us on how we shape the future of pharmacy practice?
Oh, thank you for that question. It's a big shoe to wear. Yeah, and as a profession, we are at the brink of transition. And this transition began way back when the government stopped posting interns or post-interns, or the automatic posting was stopped. And so there are many things that came into place, and especially I may call it dynamics that set in at the place of practice, employment, and all that. And so at this point, we start. Well, let me begin first in campus. When I was a leader, transiting all through to this particular point, of course, the stakes have always been higher as I progress from campus to this. The stakes have always been higher. At the current state where I'm in, I know I'm cognizant that these are young professionals. They are looking up to the leadership of Young Pharmacists Group, which I chair, for direction, for guidance, for leadership, for steering of the ship to the direction that maybe will benefit them. And so having that understanding, sometimes I feel the responsibility is quite huge because these people are looking up to you. You need to point them to where they need to draw hope from, because currently many of them are not employed. Currently, many of them are underemployed, close to 500 of them. And so it's not that I'll come and give them jobs. How can I help them to be able to make sense of this particular context they find themselves in and not be able to lose hope and still be able to make something out of what they have? Because at the end of the day, everybody has something, beginning with that degree and the knowledge you got in farm school. There's something you can build on that. So one of the things that have been driving me is just to find ways to expose this particular group of people to opportunities that are beyond the conventional practice of pharmacy, so that they don't end up feeling hopeless because hospitals are not employing people. They don't end up feeling hopeless because there are scarce job opportunities in areas where one will consider the traditional areas where pharmacists are employed or work. So that has been my driving force, and I'm glad that my team is picking it up. And there are quite a number of things that we began implementing that will ensure that the people we're leading get exposed to these opportunities. Yeah, so that has been my driving force so far, and I understand that the stakes are high, and but I'm trusting that I'll give my best in that.
Fantastic. I wish you all the best in that journey. And maybe my question in the same line as would be for the senior pharmacist or somebody running a company that actually could have an interface within the healthcare space or even in the financial sector, because when you're talking about it, these are employment opportunities are not there, but even those who want to venture into entrepreneurship, we don't have the capital. What would be your call to action to such a person in terms of considering partnering with you under the Young Pharmacists Group leadership?
That would be a welcomed opportunity. And there are quite a number of models that have worked out there. We look at an example is Equity Afya. You see the model they've deployed and how they are roping in the doctors to help them be on their feet, especially in the current environment they find themselves in. I know quite a number who are already successful in that wise. They've been helped by that model and they're doing well. So if someone has capital and they would like to partner with young pharmacists, maybe to set up an entrepreneurship venture or something in that line, they're highly welcomed. What maybe we may need to discuss is just structures that will ensure their capital is safeguarded. As much as they're giving capital, is not free money, that their capital is actually safeguarded. And at the same time, that the young pharmacists whom they're partnering with actually get value out of that particular kind of partnership. So it's a win-win. Coming up with a structure that ensures there's a win-win situation in that regard. So that is highly welcomed, and we'll really embrace that opportunity and find a way of how to work together. That's how I can put it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So for the companies, even financial institutions, you have some capital in looking at investing in the healthcare space. This is an opportunity to shape the future of young professionals committed to improving access to care, but also driving economic progress from a pharmacy standpoint of service delivery. That is a platform that I think we can take advantage of and we can use to drive value as a community. And also for the seniors in the respective organizations who are looking at getting people, it doesn't have to be a non-pharmacist. We have pharmacists, yes, they can have business development capabilities with the healthcare knowledge, which makes them even more unique in your services. And that would be an opportunity. And I think YPG, Young Pharmacists Group, could be an avenue for us to tap into this opportunity and ensure that we are supporting the next generation of leaders and professionals that we need in the industry. So thank you so much, Dr. Libeya Bethwel, on that. So as we move on in terms of your career, when you're looking at it, we talked about your career, your leadership experiences. When you look at the dynamics of the market and the industry as it is, what are some of the notable trends that you're seeing that you think would influence how the pharmacy of the current day and pharmacy of the future would look like? And with the dynamics that we're seeing, the pharmacy of the future starts 1 hour after this interview. Yes.
All right, that's a really good question. And personally, I've always been an enthusiast of looking ahead and finding out how can I position myself to things that are coming to happen 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and begin building towards that direction. And one of the things that is notable, and I don't know if it's obvious to everybody, but at least to me, it looks obvious, is technology, how it's quickly advancing and how it's encroaching in different spaces. I've been in the space of online writing space for quite a while, article writing, digital marketing, and whatnot. And over the last 2 years, I've seen how artificial intelligence has been able to render people jobless within a snap of a finger. I mean, people who have been doing writing and all of a sudden they're not able to get jobs and all that because the employers, they have discovered an artificial intelligence software that can do the work that these people have been doing at a fraction of a time at a lesser cost. So they're replaced. And, that reality is not far from pharmacists. Of course, we've heard about robotics being used to dispense medicines. In some countries, we've heard about medicine ATM dispensers in South Africa. And these are just some of the developments that are coming up that if someone is not keen enough to equip themselves with the technology that is coming and that which is to come in the future, they may find themselves irrelevant in some spaces. There are some of the things, like let's say in the space you are in, regulatory affairs, there's a lot of documentary work that is done. And one thing I always ask myself, is it something that artificial intelligence can do? See, if it's a repetitive task that artificial intelligence can do, then there's a cause for concern for people in that space. Are they equipping themselves to understand if artificial intelligence, suppose it comes in this space, how can I be able to use it to make my work easier? Or can I use it to remain relevant in this space? Because that's actually where the future is heading to. Companies will be looking forward to cut on costs and maximize profit. They've always been doing that. And that includes laying off people if they get a cheap alternative that can do work as good as the people they've employed or even better. So just being able to anticipate the development in technology sector, especially in the pharma environment, is really key. The other area that I'm looking forward to as a potential area where pharmacists can venture into is the space of digital marketing. Especially we've been doing offline marketing, and we've been told that pharmacists make very good medical representatives because they know the product that they're selling. But now, with technology and people moving online, that same concept of marketing has to be digitized. So if a pharmacist is looking forward to be relevant in this space, then digital marketing is an area they really, really need to consider and understand. If they're into marketing, how does these things work? And maybe as a side note, I have done a course on that, on digital marketing in healthcare environment or in the healthcare businesses, that has all the fundamentals that things I'm able to learn for 5+ years and put into practice and see work that can guide someone where they can begin from. So if in case someone is interested in that course, they can also reach out. It's $52.50, 5,250 shillings, so $35 is a self-paced online course. So that is another area that some people need to look into. Medical writing is another area. I'm surprised in Africa, medical writing, or in Kenya, medical writing is not really a profession that has taken roots, but in other jurisdictions, it's a whole profession on its own. And in fact, you can do it remotely and work internationally, work in several countries that you're doing it remotely because you are an expert in medicines. When it comes to writing brochures, when it comes to writing patient education materials, you are very good at that. So you just need to do skills, writing skills to spruce it up and then be able to delve into that space. It's a whole career on its own. I'm just beginning in that area of medical writing because I have writing skills now. I'm trying to niche it down to medical writing and be able to find my footing in that environment. Data science is another aspect where you employ data science in pharmaceutical companies, product development and whatnot. Business intelligence, using data to make business decisions. Well, I'm a jack of many trades. And those are some of the areas that I delve into, like data science, data analysis, and being able to use data in business intelligence, in healthcare space, pharma, clinics, hospitals, and all that. That's an area that also I'm into. And it's an area that the future, if a pharmacist is able to position themselves in that area, the future is looking bright. So those are just some of the areas people might begin now looking into, as opposed to the conventional, I need to finish school, get into a retail pharmacy, be employed to work there, to dispense medicine over the counter. We need to shift our eyes from there and focus on these virgin areas that are coming up. Yeah, back to you, David.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And those are a couple of things. And I think the most critical bit about it is we need to be open to the possibilities in the market, and we need to be in tune with what advancements are happening. Artificial intelligence. I recently asked a question on ChatGPT and I got a whole 2-page paragraphs. So then it means I don't even need to think all much. I just need to read it and prep it up, and everything is sorted without doing much work. So those are some of the advances that we have to push forward to. And then looking at beyond the digital technologies and all the advances that you're seeing in the industry, how can then young pharmacists who are getting out start getting into those spaces?
That's a good question. Number one, there has to be a drive. Long gone are the days where someone will be spoon-fed, because with access to YouTube and other materials that are free online, there is no excuse why someone should not know something that they're interested in. Sometimes I always get surprised when someone texts you and asks you something that they can easily Google and find information about. It already tells you the kind of person that they are. I mean, they cannot use the bundles that they've texted you on WhatsApp to Google and find information about it. That quite tells a lot about someone. So the drive to learn, the hunger to learn, and actually dedicating time to learn what one needs to learn. Most of these things I've never gone to, the things I do currently, I've never, apart from pharmacy, of course, but the rest of the things, I've never done a paid course to learn. I've never gone to a college to sit down to be taught. Digital marketing, data analysis, I've never, business intelligence, I've not sat down in a class to be taught. I've done self-study or self-learning by using the free available resources that are available online on websites, YouTube videos, what and what not. So there's a lot of resources out there. One just needs to know what do they need to learn, structure it well, and then pursue that knowledge, begin learning, and then apply whatever thing they've learned. So most of the things you don't need to go to school to learn. If you have money to go to school, well and good to get the certification, but if you don't have money, use the readily available materials on the internet, consume them, put into practice, and keep building on that. That's the best advice I can give someone who intends to step into those spaces.
Thank you. And I love the bit that it's the time that we have to be proactive in looking for that information, because I feel at times we're like, Libeya is our president as the chairperson of YPG. He should give us this opportunity. He should do everything. Libeya also has a life beyond chairmanship of the YPG. So how am I pushing myself to do better? That actually I help you deliver that mandate at a better level. I think that is something that we need to look at as we move along in this career journey. So beyond pharmacy and the pharmacy life that you are in Libeya, what does Libeya do beyond pharmacy, outside career? I would say that.
All right, that's a good question. Outside career, I do many things as well. But one of the things that really excite me outside the pharmacy career, mentorship is one. I really enjoy and get lots of satisfaction when I work with people who are behind me, young men and women, and just sharing my experiences, knowledge, insights that help them better their lives. That really gives me lots of satisfaction. And I have quite a number of mentees I work with in Kenyatta University. There are quite a number of medical students, others in JKUAT, Strathmore, UN. I work with quite a number. Most of them are in university or just beginning their careers. Apart from that, I also do what I call master classes for, should I call it life coaching? But not really life coaching. Just getting someone, let's say, for instance, the master class I'm doing currently that I teach every week, every Saturday, is on some of the life skills that one would want to get their life in order. For instance, setting up a strategic life plan, personal development, personal branding, those three things. So I have master classes for those that I teach them, and I get lots of satisfaction when you get feedback and you see someone's life getting back in order. Aside from that, I enjoy watching documentary films. Movies, not quite, but documentary films, I enjoy them. Military clips, because I get a lot of sharpening when I watch military, how people think, strategy, and all that. I pick them from those documentary films and military clips, and reading as well. I enjoy reading as well. So those are some of the things that keep me busy when I'm not in the pharmacy space. I'm consumed with those things. And preaching, I do preach as well. Yes.
Fantastic.
So those are the things that consume me on the side.
You're a man of many hats. I think I need to come start worshiping in your church very soon. This year, one of my resolutions was to get back to the church.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So yes. As we come towards the end of this conversation, then somebody out there will be like, Libeya has his life well structured and well figured out, and is making it big in his own spaces, and it's something that is commendable to them. How do I be like Libeya? And two, what is success to Libeya wherever you are at the moment?
All right, thank you so much. That's a good question, David. One, maybe I put a disclaimer. They can never be like Libeya, but they can borrow principles from Libeya. They can only be like themselves, maybe borrow the principles. Yeah, they can be the authentic them, and borrow the principles. That is really important. What drives my life is discipline. And at one point in my life, I was training as a karateka, and I think discipline was instilled at that particular point, because as a karateka, while training, you train whether you feel it or don't feel it. Whether it's painful or not painful, you have to show up and train and absorb the pain, because you said if there is no pain, there is no gain. And if you train hard in the training room, while sparring on the ring, it will become easier. And the reverse is true as well. So discipline drives my life. I've structured it in that manner, so I don't necessarily make decisions based on feelings. How am I feeling? Do I feel like reading or not? No, I move based on discipline. Whether it's painful or not painful, whether it's raining or sunshine, I move based on principles and discipline. So that is one thing that someone may borrow from me and put in their life and be able to grow. Discipline is key. Making decisions not based on feelings is another one. Abiding by principles, having values in their life that guide them, and letting it be known out there that this is how this person operates, so that sorry for that. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
All right, I think the internet tripped. Okay, so how does success look like for me? Success what I consider success is when my life makes someone else's life better. That is what I consider success. And when someone gives me a feedback and tell me, since the time we met, I've been able to move from point A to point B. I've been able to do something in a better way. I mean, that I consider it a success. When my life is able to cause someone else's life to be better or transform for the better, I consider that a success. Of course, that carries different definition in the different things that I do. It could be in my practice as a pharmacist, or in my role as a mentor. Am I making my mentee's life better? In my role as a pharmacist or as a leader, am I leading people better? How is their state when I met them, and how is their current state after I've spent time with them? So I consider, if I'm employed in an organization, I consider success when the organization is at a far much better place because I came. Because of my contribution, they're able to do much better in the things that they assigned me to do. So I consider that as a success. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Making an impact in the different spaces and spheres of life where you are touching people's lives. Commendable work. So my last request for you is, for those people who are watching this video, what would be your ask of them in terms of shaping their lives and ensuring that we have a better profession, but also they have productive, impactful lives?
All right. Thank you for that question. Thank you. My call out for them is strive to be your authentic self. Strive to be your authentic self. Do not copy someone else. Everybody has something to give. Just because I'm doing the things I'm doing doesn't mean you need to copy me and do the same things. You'll be living a lie. Everybody has their wiring, and you need to be comfortable, discover who you are, be self-aware, then build up on that to be the best at what you do and to be the best in the skills you have. So that will be my call out to them. Two, will be a commitment to personal development. A commitment to personal development. You can never go wrong in personal development. Look at the areas that you need to improve in your life. Look at the areas that you are good at. Then begin refining the ones you're good at and build up those that could be lacking or you'll be lacking in some way. So commitment to personal development is another thing. And most of the things I do, I've grown into them. You can grow into something and something can be bestowed upon you. But if something, let's say if your title is, if you're not grown into a title, it has been bestowed upon you, chances of you losing it is high because you don't have the capacity to sustain it. But if you have grown into something, you won't struggle to be at that level because you build yourself up to that level and it becomes natural for you to operate there. So I always say grow into the spaces you want to be in, grow into that refined profession that you want to be by investing in yourself, personal development. Yeah, that will be my take at it. I don't know if I've addressed that question.
You sure have. And thank you so much for the insights as well. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm looking forward to a great journey for those who will be watching this. I'm hoping they make use of these insights that we're gathering, but also to be better and to, most importantly, collaboratively share our insights and collaborate to ensure that we have a better future for ourselves and also for the future generations, because these professions are here for us just for a timeline. After that, somebody takes over, and we're hoping they get it at a better location, at a better position than we did find it. And that is my only hope. So thank you so much for being part of the conversation. And I really appreciate dedicating your time early in the morning. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.